It clarifies each color's philosophy and then extends them to the game by bending mechanics around it. One of the reasons that the colors are so rich in magic is that they extend to every aspect of the game.
And while we are separated by 20 years from this quote, it's still as relevant as it was then, today. The color pie, and as an extension, the philosophy of it, is incorporated into 4 core aspects of every card's design. The card's mana symbol, art, type, and mechanics all assimilate elements from the color pie in order to ensure that any given card fits within its designated color identity, or that of a color's philosophy. The first of these elements is the mana of the card, the source of truth for each component of design that we will discuss. That color or combination of colors will dictate each subsequent detail on the card. It's the answer to our riddle, the key ingredient. By placing the mana symbol in the top right, the designers are making a statement as to how the rest of the design of the card will follow. By simply looking to the mana, you can freely make assumptions of the rest of this game piece. Moving forward, let us direct our attention towards the crowning jewel of any card, its art. In this regard, the influence of the color pie is undeniably reciprocal, as it leaves an indelible mark upon the artistic representation of the card, while simultaneously being reflected by it. Inwardly, the colors of mana dictate the color composition of the art. This isn't so much color philosophy, but rather color theory. What this means is that the colors of mana are used to dictate the color composition of the art. As a great example of this, we can look to the card Gandalf the Grey. Its colors are blue and red, which means the core colors of the art will be comprised of these colors. It's in how the blue and red hues are used in differing shades, composing nearly every color of this art. This deliberate use of colors aims to further imprint the color pie onto every aspect of a given card, further deepening its relationship. So much so that if you were to remove every other piece of a card and leave only the art to remain, you would have an innate understanding of the colors of mana that make up that card. Now, outwardly, the art is a physical and visual representation of the philosophies of each color. It's through the art that we can witness each color and their combinations in action, expressed in varied ways. The art is then a window into another world, a viewport where we can see the colors in action and applied to different worlds and characters. Through the art, we have witnessed the unity of white, the calculated mind of blue, the ambitions of black, the passions of red, and the purpose of green. Art and its ties to the color pie are a subtle marriage of expression and philosophy. Just below the art lies the words which define the card in a literal sense, a classification known as the card type. The type line aims to place the card into a box. That box is then defined with the application of the color pie in mind. For instance, if I were to present you with a type, that of an angel, you would be right to assume it was a white card. And if I place the type goblin here on screen, I would imagine that you would assign it to red. The reason why you're able to put both color and type together so easily is that most types, especially those I would consider paragons of a color, exemplify the philosophies of a given color. When these types do break their assumed position in the color pie, such as a wizard in white or a minotaur in blue, it's usually only found in older cards, but if it's done in newer cards, it's usually for a deliberate reason, a statement of sorts. The truth is that certain types are usually found in specific colors or sets of colors because they in some way are a reflection of that color. The wizard is forward-thinking and knowledge-seeking, which is interchangeable with the philosophies of blue, just as the druid class is one who takes its lead from nature, merely tapping into the power that it will allow. a methodology close to green in every way. The type is yet another piece of the whole picture, but its adherence to the color pie ensures that the entirety of the design of the card is meticulously planned out. Below the type line is the heart of the card. No, not that heart of the cards. The mechanics, which are at face value game text used to simply facilitate our ability to play that game. Well, the truth is that it's this and so much more. There is an active philosophical expression going on within mechanics beyond their face value, and I would argue it's the single piece within the card that accomplishes this most, and because of this, must adhere more strictly to the guidelines that the color pie and its philosophies have set forth. From the perspective of game pieces, the color pie classifies what a color can and cannot do, separating mechanics into primary, secondary, and tertiary, meaning is a given effect primarily found in a color, sometimes seen in a color, or rarely used by a color. The last time this was defined was in Mark Rosewater's article, Mechanical Color Pie, from 2021. While not complete, this article aims to define a mechanic's relationship to the color pie, and in turn, that relationship is then defined by the philosophies of a color. This act ensures that a color feels right to play, and that it does not go against our assumptions of the color in question. This intangible feeling, while immeasurable, is exceedingly important, in that any breaks to our expectations sticks out like a sore thumb. In the early days, these breaks were common, and since the colors weren't as defined, we didn't see any fault in the design of a given card. But as the color pie became more defined, so too did the design of each card and our expectations of them. It's to the point now that when we do see a color pie break, it's most often attributed to a deliberate statement on the part of the designers, a statement which mirrors the choice put into a card's type, though the mechanics must handle it with a lot more care. When we dig into any one color, we're faced with patterns in the types of effects that are applied most frequently. These patterns are then formed to become what is called the mechanical color pie. This act of classification sets in stone the philosophies of any given color, for they can no longer shift or become something else, as the concrete representation of their philosophies are on display within thousands of cards. Thus, the mechanical color pie is defined by the philosophical one, which is then the physical representation of the philosophical color pie. This is a tight coupling of two applications of the color pie, whose relationship feed off of one another. In this way, a person could simply witness the mechanics of a color in action and begin to form a picture in their mind of what that color's methods, ideologies, and relationships are. Inversely, if you have an understanding of color philosophy, you can make informed guesses as to the style of mechanics that would be used by any given color or combination. This concept is pushed further than that of simply defining colors. It's then a way to gain a deeper understanding of a character through its effects, paired with the colors of mana that make it up. You see, a character's presence in the physical space is its representation on a card. In turn, its mechanics are that character's methods put to text, which themselves are dictated by the color pie. Such effects and colors of a card are chosen with care, as they must act to define a character, and in turn, that character's philosophies. Likewise, events or intangible concepts are captured and placed upon the card, the mechanics a depiction of it. Faithless Looting and similar cards showcase red's impulsive side, while green cards like Glimpse of Nature allow you to draw through its observation of nature's many creatures. These mechanics represent a style of play, and while no single card on its own explains the entirety of a color's philosophy, It is through the culmination of many cards and their design which imprints an understanding of a particular color or combination of colors upon us. Each card on its own is but a single abstraction of the greater whole, but together they form a perfect image in our mind as to what a color's motives and beliefs are. Through these consistencies in the physical representation of the philosophies of the color pie, we are able to gain an understanding of the philosophies of each color through osmosis. Without reading an article or watching a video, we simply understand each color by playing their cards. This is due to the design of each card working in unison with the color pie to form a cohesive representation of their philosophies. The proof of this concept lies within the new player experience of Magic the Gathering. With their knowledge of the game based on the limited cards they may have access to, they're still able to understand a lot about each member of the color pie by simply observing how each color plays, the art that's on it, and the words which are carefully printed upon each card. In this way, color philosophy constitutes the very essence of Magic the Gathering and is felt through the design of each of its game pieces. Thank you so much for watching my latest video. It was honestly a labor of love, and I'm happy with how it turned out. If you want to dig a little bit deeper into the history of the color pie, then consider watching this video right here. I also just want to say a special thank you to my patrons for supporting this channel in the ways that they do. If you're able to support the channel and help it grow, consider becoming a patron today. And with that, friends, I will catch you in the multiverse. Bye.